Roar.
Roar indeed. This is Pete Mutino by John and Drew.
Hi, you guys. How you doing today?
What's up, man?
Only I get the last thing. That's the rules here on movie.
Listen, I live dangerously. You know, my full name is Johnny Danger Sambikos Witkowski.
That is a mouthful.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
you live dangerously, and it sounds like you got a little bit of Jewish in you, which actually ties nicely to the main character in the movie. We
Yes, it
decided to review
does.
this movie. We decided to review Goon. Goon is a 2011 sports comedy. It follows the story of the character Doug Glatt. Basically,
Doug
Doug the Thug, yes, soon to come. The basic premise of the movie is Doug Glatt is a bouncer, and he overcomes these long odds of him being kind of a dimwit. When he realizes he has a talent for fighting, which he kind of is a bouncer, but then he grows into it and he realizes he has an opportunity to be a bruiser or a goon.
Goon, yeah.
A goon, which
Yeah.
I guess is the hockey terminology for someone who is kind of brought out to enforce on the ice and bruise. And it's kind of him dealing with, he has a brainy, sort of intelligent Jewish family. I don't feel bad saying Jewish because they really hammer it home. It stars Sean William Scott, who you're probably familiar with from American Pie, and Jay Baruchel. Sean William Scott is the main role of Doug Glatt. Guys, what did you think of Goon?
Take it off, Drew.
Well, the first thing that I had reservations about it before I saw it the first time because I was like, it's Sean William Scott. Is this going to be another Sean William Scott movie? And
Yeah.
that couldn't be farther from like his realm of like what he normally plays. Honestly,
Yeah, he keeps impressing me. And he's a really humble guy. I remember he actually got some decent reviews for this film, and he was blown away. He was like, he was really humble about it. He was like, I really have never credited myself as a great actor or anything like that. And I wouldn't say it was a great performance, but it was really cool to
definitely
see him.
not something in his comfort zone though.
Right, he's normally the goofy friend.
He
who's
wasn't
like-
Stifler, you
Yeah,
know?
he's the one banging everyone.
Exactly.
He's kind of like an idiot. Yeah.
Well, you know what the thing is? I saw the trailer for Goon, and I instantly said, that's the movie I want to see right away. And it's, one of those times where it's like you see trailers and you get hyped up for a movie. It was one of the only times where I've seen a trailer, seen the movie, and was utterly not disappointed.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and the thing about Sean William Scott is, he's done other serious roles. I mean, if you look at him in The Rundown and what's the other movie? What is it? What's the movie with
I don't know which.
Role Models?
Oh, okay. I mean, that was still
That's
kind
still
of
the
him.
same
He's still
ballpark,
kind
though,
of
I feel
Kind of, but I think if you give him something out of his comfort zone, I think Sean William Scott is like I think he has the potential to be someone who's really funny, really clever, and he can really take on a role that's just interesting to watch. I mean, Goon was just it's funny as hell. It's the second time I've watched it, and the second time going back, it's hard to watch a movie like that. And I still found it. I laughed through the whole second viewing.
Yeah.
And it's also has a few other celebrity appearances. We got like Liev Schreiber is in it. He's kind of our antagonist.
Kim Coates.
Kim Coates. Eugene Levy makes an appearance as his father.
Yep. Rochelle is his best friend.
His best friend, yeah. So a lot of familiar comic faces, and you see that reflected in the dialogue a lot. I mean, the movie, I felt almost had a confused tone to an extent, where you open up the film seeing blood and like a tooth slowly falling onto some ice. So at first I thought this might be kind of like, have you ever seen the Patton Oswalt movie, Big Fan?
Big Fan is great.
I thought it might go that route. I thought maybe this is like a dark movie because I had heard all these great reviews that Sean William Scott is getting. So if you're going to see this movie, realize it's not that. It's really much more of a comedy. It felt like
really
a little
funny.
confused in the presentation, but it's really a lot of snappy dialogue, character-driven stuff. All the characters are basic archetypes. You have kind of the girl who doesn't know what she wants, who's our love interest. We have Sean William Scott, who's our dim-witted, yet we really like him and want him to succeed sort of character. We have family issues.
The best friends.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty typical film in the sense of structure.
Well, some things I want to point out about the film structure and the characters and stuff is the girl, between, what's her name?
Eva
and Doug. I thought that was a really great relationship because it wasn't like creepy to the point where he was following her or anything like that.
Right,
He was
it's
just kind of being.
He was almost like a little boy. Like he just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, that energy.
That's the thing, and that's the thing about the character. He's so, I don't want to say slow, but he's just so nice and so kind.
I think you could say he's a little slow.
But I think the character is so nice and so kind that this is a world that you wouldn't see him in.
Well, he's a big, brash, but like lovable teddy bear.
Yeah, and I won't spoil the exact ending, but I think at the ending you do kind of see that he isn't the brightest guy still.
Yeah.
They keep hammering that point home, which I thought was a good choice.
Yeah.
And then it kind of ends with a similar motif, but we won't really get into that right now. Pretty low budget movie.
How much was it made for?
It was made for I don't have I don't think it ever actually went to box office. It was opening weekend. It only made $49,000.
Oh my god!
And that's in the United States. So I'm not sure how much it made naturally. And it's, it's a quick watch. At 92 minutes, it's mercifully short.
Yeah.
Really, you could crank this out. I think it's almost like a fun thing to do if you were like on a date or something because it's got something for everyone.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
It's got a little
enough.
romance in it for the
little
girls.
romance. It's fun. All the characters are easy to follow and likable in their own right.
All the team too. All the guys that play the team members are hilarious.
Yeah.
The goalie's great.
Absolutely. It almost felt like a Adam Sandler type of film.
Yeah,
like,
kind of like a hockey major league.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Those aspects of the
yeah.
crazy
Which I also love. It has that element. If you like sports comedies, it's a lot of people where it's like they all have their thing that they do on the ice. Well, we had the phenom fallen from grace, LaFleur. Laflamme. Yeah, he's this like French Canadian guy who used to be a phenomenal hockey player. So they bring
drafted number 2 overall.
Yeah, and then he kind of fell from grace after our villain Liev Schreiber took him out and gave him a concussion.
What is it? Bob the Ross Ross the Boss Ray.
Ray.
You know what? I have to say, even though Liev Schreiber isn't in that movie all that much, I love the fact that he's kind of like the godfather of hockey. Every time you see him, you hear like the violin music, and they're talking about respect.
Every time we see this character, he's smoking a cigarette in like he's either fucking people up on the ice or he's smoking a cigarette just at this diner. And I love how it's like it's clear he doesn't have any real like interest in the sport of hockey.
He's just there.
He even says he's like I'm no hockey player.
Yeah.
And those Canadian accents.
He's not going out like no pants. He's like, if it comes down to it, it's me and you, kid. I will lay you the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's all about pride.
And Sean William Scott's character, Glatt, is it's funny because he realizes he's not a hockey player, but he wants to do whatever he can for the team. And then you get the kind of the buddy drama between him and Laflamme. You get the romance. You get the relationship between him and his family, kind of overcoming odds. So he still does all these things that are great, like that we want to see from a protagonist in a lighthearted comedy like this. But at the same time, it maintains the fact that he is also a dimwit and it's used to comedic effect constantly. So I thought that was an interesting choice for a film.
I can't stop gushing over the character. I mean, I think Sean William Scott played it incredibly well, and I love that character because he's just so lighthearted and so kind. He doesn't realize it's just such a juxtaposition where word of the night, where he's just such a nice guy thrown into such a
it's like
brutal.
When he goes to the practice for the first time, like the guy comes up and talks shit to him, and he lays out the entire team, right? And as soon as he realized what he did, you could see he's like upset. He's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry," He's like Pedro Serrano in the second Major League result, like about peace and like being nice and everything.
Yeah,
at the same time, he kicks the shit out of people.
Or when he fights the one guy in the playoffs. And he's just like, when his parents are at the game, he's like, "Oh, you want to go?" He was really nice.
Yeah, and it looked pretty good. Also, I was actually impressed with the filming of it. It was all filmed on Red One MX.
It was really well shot.
Yeah, so for a kind of smaller scale movie, not bad. Also, speaking of actors stepping out of their elements, Jay Baruchel in this, we just talked about him the other week for This is the End. Where he's playing much more the character we're used to seeing him, the kind of the neurotic Apatow go-to sort of guy.
Yeah.
But this one he's very different. He's kind of like one of those Boston suburb, way too intense, has kind
Irish.
of has a haircut like he's a rapper sort of thing. Way too loud, and with his friend at the end though, so it's a feel good.
He genuinely wants to see Doug happy.
So I would overall sum this up is a feel good comedy, pretty much laugh a minute, but with a slightly dark tonality, and we'll get into why I say it's dark
real quick. This is what I'm talking about. Evan Goldberg and Jay Baruchel wrote the script for this. And I think it was. I mean, despite the fact that This Is the End was good. I mean, I thought it was a really great movie. I thought that this was like a much smarter, better written movie.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I would certainly agree.
that's what I
a lot
think they
more
could have pumped
complete
out.
and a lot more something for everyone. And the way they managed to condense it, it's great. Just definitely worth the watch. We'll delve into this deeper. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll get deeper into Goon.
Do you ever feel like you're alone? Do you ever feel like no one really understands you? You're just wondering what keeps you going. Well, I've got a crazy idea. Scroll to the top of our Facebook page and like Midnight Treehouse Productions. Will it help your loneliness? No. But you should do it.
Welcome back to Movie Monday. We're discussing Goon. Drew, you said you had written down some of your favorite quotes from the film. I will say this movie reminds me of something like...
Happy Gilmore.
Well, I was saying it reminds me of that, and then there are character elements in it, though, that are, but yeah, much like Happy Gilmore or something like that, Billy Madison, or even something as absurd and joke a minute as something like Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah.
Like, the announcer was, like, off the charts at points. Yeah. Like, he was very, like, they obviously got, like, a stoic Italian guy, but then there are moments, like, where the woman is singing the national anthem for Canada, and she's just terrible. Like,
this poor nation.
And the announcer, like, over the intercom says it's, like, a disgrace to the nation. At the end, when they win like that big deciding game, he talks about how he's gonna go home and like fuck his wife really good.
Like what's my wife for the first time in a long time. The right time.
So it's full of gems like that.
I love the guys that always fuck with the goalie. The two like German guys.
Oh,
Russian.
Russian.
Because he's got the picture of his mother on the mask, and they got the mask in front of their dick, and they're like, "Oh, your mother pussy's so tight. No way, baby, coming out of here."
And the dynamic with those characters is really funny because it's like they obviously didn't have a great command of the language, so they felt the need to explain jokes afterwards because they weren't sure if people were getting it, but they were still brazen in their douchebaggery. Yeah. So it's full of rompy crap like that, which I love. That's something that and we were saying it's a movie for everyone, and it really is. It's like a great guys movie, and then but while the absurd elements are there, there's still people you're rooting for, and not just because you're supposed to.
Right.
For instance, Billy Madison. Say if we want to, or let's say Happy Gilmore. It's a sports movie.
Okay.
Right. Let's compare it to that.
Wait, did I say Billy Madison earlier?
No, you said Happy Gilmore.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say Billy Madison. But Happy Gilmore, it would be more similar to as a sports movie, actually. Because Happy Gilmore versus Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, you're still kind of rooting for Happy because we see his plight. We see that it's like he wants to take care of his grandma. He's a good dude. He wants like a nice lady, like a nice girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, Billy Madison, he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like it's like this rich kid's getting his stuff taken away from him, and he's like really into boobies. Like, you know, so that one's more of your absurdist, more dirty work style of comedy, where Happy Gilmore is more of a fully functional film.
I think the only difference is there's no real like. I mean, we say that Liev Schreiber is kind of the antagonist
in a way, yeah, but there isn't. But
there's no real like, oh, I'm gonna. It's just these two guys.
He's
who
like a rival.
Respect each other because they both know they're goons and they both know they're really good at their fucking job.
I guess part of it too is him figuring out what his place is, because like he even says in the beginning, he's like, I don't have a thing. You know, he's like, you have your show. My dad and my brother have their doctor things. Like, I don't have a thing. It's like the part in I was talking to you about this earlier when they're in the restaurant with his parents,
which really is
that's a great
point.
scene.
Yeah,
you know,
if anything, the antagonists are kind of his parents.
Yeah,
they're really the big thing he has to get over. We know that he's hell-bent on fighting, so fighting Liev Schreiber is more of the vitriol of the sports.
Yeah, his dad's like, you could have been anything. You could have been a doctor. He's like, no. He's like, I'm slurred. He says like, I'm dumb.
He's like, I'm dumb.
You have a dumb son. You have a gay son.
And the gay brother is sitting right next to him. He's like, gay, dumb.
Gay, dumb.
And they
this
keep
is what I do.
up the
You should be proud of me. You know,
but one of the things I really enjoy is like the fact that character arc doesn't really get resolved. It's not like his parents like stepping in the final moments of the games,
right?
Fight his heart out.
Which was fine because I think they were just trying to illustrate that it was something he needed to get over. He just realized that he didn't care what they said.
Yeah. Well, even Pat, you know, he goes, you know, if they don't like it, then fuck your parents.
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
You know?
And I think
this is what you were here to do. And then, you know, he goes into
and
that
I think
whole
that was
thing.
fine because it was like almost like that was the one thing holding them back. We dismissed the parents completely, and then it's more about the stuff that's now important to him, which I thought worked fine for the film. Like it was more like getting along with his teammates, making sure the girl is on his side. Yeah. I like the element with the girl too, that they introduced some wackiness into her, that she's like a little offbeat. I mean, she became human by the end of it, but the fact that she's like kind of a liar was funny. The fact that she's like trying to cut back on drinking. There's like 18 empty beers there. Like, she's like sitting watching TV and drinking 6-packs, like multiple, on the couch, which made her the dream woman for me because that's what I do. Yeah, it was
your perfect counterpart, Pete.
I was like, I love her. I want to talk a bit more about the actual ending and kind of how I said it got dark in a weird way. Because at the end, he doesn't even get to see the end of the game because he's just been beaten to a pulp, even though and his ankle is totally shot. And he kind of hears the game, but he's just like, I think I really nailed him. And that's all he really cares about at the end. So it is kind of dark, and it ends with like the tooth just hitting the blood on the ice, like what I was talking about earlier is that opening shot that was pretty cool. And I thought a lot of the other shots were cool. I thought when they had like kind of the puck cam, I thought that was actually done really well. And I actually had that moment where you see a really interesting shot. Interesting,
well,
not breathtaking.
At the end too, that shot as they're starting to throw down, like the equipment and the crowd. Even that's like
they did.
shot.
I think for such a fast-paced sport, like when you look at Happy Gilmore or Major League. It's
Mighty Ducks. No, seriously, it's a fast-paced thing. It's those kind of cuts and stuff.
It's just very fast-paced. For the way it's filmed, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my pants off.
Do it up.
We're at that point of the show.
He does this every time when we get to roughly 15 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, we're only at 15 minutes, John. He said it off the mic, but he was asking me if we were only at 15 minutes.
His pants really are off.
I do want to talk more about that darkness element that I was talking about earlier, because it was a little jarring and confusing to me, which is fine. I think they were trying to be a different type of movie, which they achieved, but I think it's weird to have like kind of this streamlined comedy where yes, the guy's fighting, but we care about him as a whole, and then to have like kind of this bloody pulp ending. So it was almost like a commentary on it's like being a hockey goon is not the best thing. So it was almost like as if like when they were writing it, like Jay Baruchel or whoever, whoever of the two it was, almost had
Evan
like Evan Goldberg wanted the
Baruchel.
challenge of like. I want to make a movie about like a subject matter, like
Glorifying.
about like maybe they were watching these. It's almost like I think they had the philosophical point. They were watching a hockey game and they were talking about like there are guys on hockey teams. It's like a real thing where all they do is fight. Like that's like why they're on the team. Maybe it's like, man, that is a horrible thing. Like, what a miserable existence that person must have. It's like, but maybe we can make a feel-good movie about that.
Well, they even said Ray was like, you're gonna bleed when they want you to bleed, and then once you're done, they're not gonna have any use for you.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how it ends. A little, if you think about it.
There's that scene in the diner where Liev Schreiber's character tells him he's like, everyone like loves a soldier until he like comes back home.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Batman. It's like
it's similar.
They don't need you right now.
Yeah,
it's like,
no, it's true.
He's like, it's the hero Gotham needs, but not the one
it deserves or
He
whatever
fought
it
when he needed
was.
to fight, and then when he went back to the dressing room and they scored 3 goals and won the fucking game, I was like, I never forgot about him.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's funny how much it is about Sean William Scott's character and not so much about the team, because the team was there as the backdrop, because the parts where they're actually winning and turn around are so quick. Yeah. And that's another thing I want to say about this movie is the pacing is great in the sense if you want a movie just to watch a movie real quick, if you have an hour and a half to kill, that's worth watching.
Yeah.
Because like his development from becoming a bouncer to working his way up through the amateur leagues and then getting to the basically semi-pros where he spends the rest of the duration of the movie. All happens. I went back and timed it.
It's like a minute.
It happens in literally 9 minutes, with pan backs to him working at the bar and having funny exchanges with Jay Baruchel.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great. I mean, some people I know are turned off by that. And it's like, well, it got rushed along. But I think for this style of film, it works perfectly.
It's this style of film, and it's like saying this happened and this happened, therefore this happened, instead of giving that extra 2 steps.
Well, that's the thing
you really don't need.
Sure.
A sports movie doesn't need to be like metaphysical and like question the existence of life or be like, well, he was working in a bar and then he learned
I think people get satisfied by having information slowly doled out to them. I think that's like a big appeal of like mystery movies and stuff like that. But I think for this, because it does cheapen the quality of the movie. I'm not sure if it's just what I'm used to. But when it was happening really quick, it almost felt like it's like, okay, come on, like we could have like seen a bit more of his development and strive. But when you realize what type of movie it is, you can respect it for what it is, and it's actually kind of good. It's like, okay, it's funny, and we'll see him working his way up via multiple montages. Yeah. It's a movie that opens up with montages.
Yeah,
and I know you're going to expect to see that in a sports movie, but not so much in the first like 9 minutes. But which is kind of nice. So we almost get to this instant gratification, and it kind of worked because it's like, within these quick montages, we get a sense of who he is. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's just they get to the meat of the movie really quick, which is really nice and awesome. It doesn't take a long time. It's just like, okay, we're gonna show you a setup, and that's it. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's kind of like Batman Begins to The Dark Knight, where it's just like, okay, we know he's Batman. We don't need to set up all this like charismatic, bullshit. And it's just like it's not like they got into the Joker origin story too much. They told one story about the Joker, and that was it. We all know he's a madman. We all know he's a psychopath.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's actually a really good comparison. A lot of comparisons to Batman in this movie. All right, we'll take one last break, and then we'll wrap it up here. And we'll just talk about our overall feelings, any little moments that we feel need to be rebarked.
I'm going to put on pants.
Yeah, you are. That's in order. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Hi there. This is Pete Mutino, Director of Podcasts here at the Midnight Radio Show. I'm here to thank you for continuing to listen to our podcasts, including our Movie Monday reviews, our Freeform Wednesday shows, and our soon-to-come sports retrospective podcast on Saturdays with columnist Nick Schaefer. It's my hope that you've enjoyed what you've heard so far, but I would like to hear from you. Please send an email to pete@themidnightradioshow.com. Let me know your thoughts, what you'd like changed, or even suggestions for a new podcast with subject matter you would like to hear. We can't make it a great podcast for you if we don't know what you want. So once again, thanks for listening, and I hope to hear from you. One last time, send your comments to pete@themidnightradioshow.com. And please, no spam emails. That's what my frickin' Gmail account is for. Welcome back to Movie Monday. We're going to wrap it up here. We're talking about Goon once again, in case you're just tuning into the last third. If you scanned in between all the breaks because you're a psycho and you just wanted all the spoilers.
I want to see how it ends first.
A very avant-garde approach to podcast.
I'll go back to the beginning.
I was actually looking at some of the production credits here. It looks like a lot of this was done locally. For instance, the cinematographer, Gordon Wilding, and the director, who was... Sorry, I forgot the name real quick.
Shot in Canada, right?
Yeah, all shot in Canada, and it looks like a lot of these guys all met on some sort of sports project called Balls, believe it or not.
Balls?
Yeah, and a lot of these guys just have short film production credits, and it's all Canadian. But the odd thing is a lot of these seem to be zombie movies, which is interesting.
Really?
But I'm not sure if maybe that's where they picked up the ability to, actually maintain action sequences. Because if you think about zombie movies, there's always a lot of fast cuts where people are getting eaten.
Right,
and, confusion. And it's almost kind of the same thing when you're watching a fight on ice or watching a puck fly.
It was great gore shot, especially when the part where he blocks the shot at the end.
Yeah.
And they're just all slamming their, the sticks in his face, and
that
was really well done.
So they did a good job. I mean, it looks like they just sourced local talent from whenever they did this.
Everybody's filming in Canada.
And then
now.
they put the rest of the budget, I guess, into stuff like casting and getting in, actors like Lieb Schreiber, getting in writers. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Isn't it a tax thing or something about
when
filming
you
in Canada?
when you shooting, I'm back.
Oh, welcome back. John has clothes on now.
When you're shooting in Canada, they, I think it's either you don't get taxed, and I'm putting on shoes. The French government will actually
He's
give you
straight Mr. Rogersing. That's amazing. Sing to us, Johnny.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. In Canada, the French government will, if you're a French citizen, they'll give you money to shoot the movie.
Oh, really?
Yep. I don't know if that's changed.
But that's not for here though. Like if our production's going up there.
If you go up there and you get okay from the French government, they won't tax you for anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't pay you to shoot there though.
No, but if we were Canadian, if we were in
Right.
Canada and we were like legitimate film students, and we'd be like, well, we're trying to shoot this movie. I guess we give like the prime minister of art.
Maybe that's why, like maybe this, like Jerry Baruchel's Canadian. Maybe
Right.
maybe he knew this and decided
why
to
he shot
kind of
everything, right?
get a bunch of smaller
Now,
filmmakers.
I have a question.
A lot
I
of
have
them are Canadian.
I have a cousin who now has dual citizenship. He's Canadian. So if we just put his name on some sort of a form, could we film something for free up in Canada?
Well, wait a second.
Not that we're going to do that, Canada.
Did he become a Canadian
He
citizen?
became a Canadian citizen.
I think you have to be a natural
born.
But then,
Son of a
but the
bitch.
thing is, after that, in order to get, usually with most governments, to get any kind of stipulation or stipend from them, you have to be a citizen for more than X amount of years.
Let's
So I
hope it's
think
5.
Canada, it's 10.
Son of a bitch. They're always one step ahead. They know what it's all about.
all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I mean, just to sum this up, I mean, obviously this movie's not going to win any awards or anything
No.
like that, but it's a fun little thing. And I think the most remarkable thing is like all the jokes were snippy, fun, and something you hadn't heard a million times.
Right.
You know, these weren't like a million like haha he got hit in the balls jokes.
Yeah.
It's
there was one he got hit in the balls joke in the whole movie.
no. I mean, yeah, and if there was, it was intentionally over the top for a character that's stupid.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, if anything, it would probably have been those two like Russian guys we were talking about who keep giving the goalie
Fuck your
shit.
mother.
Yeah.
Speaking of Russians, I have to go meet one so they don't cut off my fingers.
It's a good strategy.
Pete, I'm going to tell you to hold on to my headphones. Bye-bye, everybody. It's been John. It's been nice. Do, 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 do.
All right, so John's bowing out, so now Drew and I can talk shit about him.
Thanks, guys.
Can you hurry up and leave?
That's
please,
always
John?
the joke, isn't it?
At long last. At long last.
Do we know where John's going?
I assume he's meeting a Russian. I don't think he would lie about that.
A Russian woman?
Hold on.
One could only assume. I'm going to hold on to John's headphones as he's yelling
hope it's a
off
Russian
the
woman.
mic in true professional
Good luck, John.
facet. Good luck with the Russians.
Wrap it up.
All right. So the Russians.
He heard you.
Yeah, I heard you. We're doing a podcast. Thank you for the professionalism.
Jesus Christ.
So that happened.
That just happened.
All right. Well, you said you had written down some more of your favorite quotes, and I think
Oh,
that's
man.
a decent way to bang this out to
Well,
end it.
the movie starts with Ross the boss about to start a fight with someone else, and he like looks at the guy who's got the dreads, and he's like, he's got a cut in his face because look at that face pussy the rookie gave you. Like who says face pussy? Like
Yeah, I like that, and it's almost like what you picture of like amateur hockey league. It's like a bunch of like drunk, scary white guys.
and like 5 people in the stands. I love the what was the guy who played the captain?
That guy was a real, yeah. He,
He
was
was
an
a
interesting character. I was
hilarious
almost
character.
hoping to see something with him on the ice.
Yeah. Well, he
Um,
tried that fight at the end, like when
Yeah.
Doug wasn't there, like he stepped up.
I was
but-
hoping he had some sort of skill, and I liked he was almost like kind of going back. I keep comparing this to like an Adam Sandler earlier film, but like or like Dirty Work or something. It's like a character who just has that one thing he keeps going back to, and his thing was just like he fucked up his
Divorce.
marriage. Yeah, he got divorced.
There's a lot of guys over there who go through divorces too. That's hard work. We gotta be gay porn hard.
I really enjoyed that. And like a clear alcoholic, like flawed but still kind of the leader. He tries to be the leader.
Everybody still loves him.
Yeah, and I like the whole the hierarchy, like the fact that like Laflamme, because he was such a great player, was assistant captain, but he was
Yeah.
traded there recently. And kind of like Mighty Ducks, we get like little team dynamics of like which team is which. Like I like when they go back to Quebec and it's like a big issue because like, Laflamme was like the great French traitor there.
They're all like spitting on him.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah, it's
treating
stuff
him
like that.
shit.
It's almost like sports rivalries that are like way too inflamed, and if they happen in real sports, like would almost take away from the actual value of the
Yeah.
sport in a weird way. But it's like almost wish fulfillment, and I enjoy that.
That's great. That's great.
You had some other favorite character dynamic scenes here.
I'm trying to think of some other good stuff. There was so much good, just like banter back
Back
and
and
forth
forth,
about
yeah.
like even the part where he's talking about. Like we're all like a bunch of ETs, like we all have lights in our. And it's just like I wanted to lead your light, and it's just,
I love that, and because our hero, Sean William Scott, is also an idiot, and they
Yeah.
never drop that ball. There was one other thing. I love how he just has a thing where he will just repeat whatever was said to him as a compliment back to the person, even if there's no context at all. Like I think at one point someone said he's like a great hockey player, and he says it back to like the coach. I also like the actor. I forget his name. I should
I'm
look it up.
super impressed with you. I'm fucking impressed with you
You,
too.
yeah. Like, yeah, you should be impressed with the coach. A lot of actors. The guy who plays the coach of the team that we're rooting for, was it Manitoba?
The Highlanders?
The Highlanders.
Halifax Highlanders?
Halifax Highlanders. It's the guy from like Sons of Anarchy. He plays Tig.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
more Sons of Anarchy. Is that good?
Oh, it's definitely good. Definitely worth checking out. First 2 seasons, pretty good, and then it gets really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool to see. I like when you see smaller budget movies with higher
Good
caliber
people,
actors.
yeah.
I like it when they spend their money on writing and talent, and then give these smaller filmmakers a shot to show what they do.
Yeah.
So it had a smaller budget community feel.
Yeah.
Which I can appreciate it. And usually when you see movies like that, they tend to be too artsy, and this one just had a little flair at the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
And that was it. And the rest of it is a good, clean, well, not clean, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Clean in the sense of timing, pacing,
Yeah.
style of comedy. And especially if you're a hockey fan, I'm not sure. I don't think for the actual elements of the sport.
I don't even think you really need to be a hockey fan. Like, I think if you're a hockey fan, you appreciate it much more.
Yeah, I think I think if you're like Canadian, you'll love this movie.
Well, of course.
Yeah, we'll show it to
religion.
Tara,
Tara
former guest of the podcast.
Miss Millette will love it.
Yeah, she's in Canada right now, I hear.
Both of them? Miss Millette or just Tara?
Oh, well, I guess both, because I think she's visiting her.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think a Canadian would appreciate this movie. I mean, the fighting's a little over the top. It's guys literally punching each other in the face like multiple times. But I like that our main character, until he meets, his match, is basically invincible. I like that people punch him in the head and it hurts their hand, and he just kind of stares.
Yeah, like, well, the first guy he fights, the guy that comes in the stand, he's like, he's like, oh, you're a fag. He's like, hey, my brother's gay. And he just punches him right in the face.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy at heart. He's just.
He's a big teddy bear. He's just big, it's such an interesting
likable.
character.
It's like you almost wish you were a girl so you could date him. Maybe that's exclusive to me.
I love that when he gives her the gift too, and he's like, it's the was it the mascot team? He's like, that's official. It's an official.
Yeah, and there are parts where you feel for him. Like, they actually made him a likable character.
Yeah.
Like that scene. There's a scene where we were talking about the dinner scene earlier with his family, but he gets the game puck that game because he had scored the winning goal off his butt and like beat up 3 guys. And got promoted to assistant captain. And he wants to give the game puck to his parents. Yeah. And his brother's like trying to like lighten the situation. He's like, "How much do you think you can get for that on eBay?" He's like, "Oh no, we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna give it to mom and dad." And they're just like, don't want it. They're not
shit
interested.
all over him.
Yeah, just because it was just like a weird sociopathic. Like everyone needs to be a lawyer family.
You can do anything, Doug. You can do. It's like, dude, come on, man. Like,
yeah. No, that's the type of those parents need to like take some shrooms or something, change their perspective on shit.
Enjoy.
He's just a person.
Your kid's happy.
Yeah.
Let him be happy.
Yeah. Do they let the other son be gay, or they won't let the other one?
Well, they didn't really let him be gay. Well, even before, he's like, just so you know, they're both adopted.
Yeah.
It's like he's not even taking.
Oh, I forgot. They're not really thrilled about the gay angle either. Yeah, they did a good job making them not likable. It was interesting to see Eugene Levy as like a total dick.
Asshole. Yeah.
I was expecting some like awkward sex chat with him, a la American Pie, like wink, wink, and
that's
Stifler.
what we're used to now at this point, because he always does like the funny. He's never a dick anymore.
Yeah, it was great. It was cool seeing like all the people in here who you would normally see were breaking convention. A part you wouldn't expect them to see.
Yeah.
See them in, especially for our main core of characters. I'm not really talking about Liev Schreiber. I could see him playing a badass, and the guy from Sons of Anarchy who plays the coach. He usually is kind of a weird, offbeat, angry role like that. But Sean William Scott, we see out of his element. Eugene Levy, as I just said, G. Baruchel, definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I've watched it multiple times now. So
cool.
It's a good flick. Definitely check it out.
Cool. I guess we wrap it up here. Obviously, Drew recommends it. I definitely recommend it. John took off his pants and left the room, so he hates this movie.
Yeah.
So you should watch this movie, and if you enjoyed it as much as Drew and I did, write John a hate message at john@midnightradioshow.com.
That prick.
What a jerk. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. We have plans to see Pacific Rim. We hope we can all get to the theater and see that and bang it out for you. Otherwise, we have a bunch of other great movies we'd like to share with you. If you enjoy what you hear, by all means, drop me an email at pete@themidnightradioshow.com. Any movie suggestions or post on the Facebook page right here and tell us your thoughts on Goon or any movies you would like to hear us talk about. We'll see you next week. This is Pete.
This is Drew.
We'll see you next time on Movie Monday. Take care, guys.